Namaste. Good afternoon, everybody. We hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining today's stream. We have a really great topic, and that is be the one that finds the gold, aversion to fault finding and envy. Oh, ouch. So we will go into that in a moment, but before we do that, let us have some time to introspect, calm our mind, just relax the body, and we will do some deep breathing. First, just observe your breath. Throughout the day, especially when we're a little bit stressed, our breath is usually a little bit shallow. So let us now try to breathe more deeply into our abdomen. Deep breathing is actually very beneficial. And now, as you inhale, you can mentally say the mantra Gauranga to your mind. Then you hold your breath for a few seconds. And then we will be exhaling through the mouth, saying Gauranga out loud. And it will be something like this. Gauranga. 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 Two more times. Gauranga. Gauranga. Gauranga is a transcendental sound that comes from the spiritual realm, and because of this, it has great spiritual potencies, can actually purify our hearts and minds. There are many benefits from the spiritual Gauranga meditation. If you add this to your daily schedule, just 5 or 10 minutes per day will make a big difference. So now we will have another type of short meditation, and this is with melody, and you can use musical instruments if you like. But this is not a musical performance, but rather, when we are engaging in this hearing and singing of these transcendental mantras, it's basically a journey of self-discovery where we can begin to experience who we really are. So now let's have a few moments of silence and introspection, when we can actually consider the deeper meaning of this human journey. What is it that we really want to accomplish? What we want to experience? What we want to take with us when this human journey comes to an end? So different people, they have different goals, different preferences, different taste. It can be said, generally speaking, that everybody is looking to find happiness, right? To experience happiness, to want to love and to be loved. But how people go about trying to become really happy and satisfied, fulfilled within, can be quite different. And if we look around the world, different things bring different people joy. So a honeybee actually has acquired the taste for honey, whereas the fly has developed a taste for unclean things. So a person who actually wants to experience real pure love is compared to the honeybee. But a person who enjoys finding fault in others and in everything in the world pretty much, they're compared to a fly. So in this world, unfortunately, many of us, we have this habit, yeah, that rather than trying to see the good in others and looking at our own imperfections, we do the opposite. We think we are already so close to perfection that, if everybody else was like us, oh, things would be great, yeah. And so we notice the imperfections in others quite easily, usually, because they are out there in the open. Yeah, it's not that difficult to see, but it's much harder to see our own imperfections. So, but if we have developed a little taste for the sweetness of love, we actually experience some humility, then being judgmental, for example, becomes distasteful. It's no longer a source of joy or feeling better that, oh, I'm such a better person than that, lowly guy over there or so. So the question is, what do we want to experience? What type of flavor do we want to have in our experience? So, we can actually learn things from the honeybee. The honeybee is not just sitting around there and just saying, oh, look at all those dirty flies. Look at how low they are. The bees don't even focus on the flies. Yeah, they have their duty. Yeah, they collect pollen. They distribute pollen. They're so busy going to so many different flowers, and they're smelling so many nice things. It's actually a very important part of the ecosystem. But the flies might fight amongst each other, and they will not be happy in that condition. So, why is it so common that people actually spend so much time looking at faults in others? So, first of all, everybody wants to be liked, yeah? We want to be loved. And we experience that virtually no one in this world loves us unconditionally, yeah? That they actually love me the way I am with all of my faults and imperfections. Rather, they don't hesitate to point out, oh, you need to change this. If only you were like that. Why did you do this? And they become displeased with us when we act in certain ways that they don't like, yeah. So so people are often very, very concerned that others see us in a favorable way, especially with teenagers here. There's this peer pressure to be accepted, to be liked, and teenagers will often do crazy things just to be accepted by some people who they want to be friends with. So, and one, and in our opinion, we think that if so, we're trying to hide our imperfections many times. Yeah, there's often that game going on when a young boy or young girl they meet each other. But even with adults, before marriage is a perfect thing. Yeah, everybody is on the best behavior, acting so perfectly, and then as soon as you're married and now you're living together, you can't hide everything anymore, right? Suddenly, oops, oh, I didn't see that before. What's this? you know, so so basically we want to see others in a favorable way because we are very concerned that they will not love us if they see the negative things in ourselves. If somebody could read my mind, oh my gosh, so much trash in there. Yeah, some really not good thoughts and desires that have gone through my mind, but actually good news. We're not the passing thoughts. and desires that come and pass through the mind. That's actually not who I really am, but unfortunately, many times we do identify with that. So that's another topic, how to um, learn how to control and redirect the mind more. But we can do this with the help of mantra meditation. So, so one way how people try to come across in a very favorable way, with others, is by trying to elevate themselves in comparison to others. Yeah. And so people, generally speaking, they do this either in one of two ways. So either we can point out all the good things about ourselves, or look at me, it's just like, wow, did you see what I did? That is beautiful painting on the face, fastest runner, the best artist. I won this competition, straight A's in school, better than everybody else, you know. Or maybe if my accomplishments are not so exceptional, so wonderful, then another way how we can try to feel better than some others, at least, we don't want to be the worst person, right? We just try to point out some faults in others. Yes, so we're trying to reduce the status, the standing or reputation of others in society or in our circle of friends, perhaps. Yes, so this, of course, as we know, is connected with envy. Yeah? When we don't want others to be doing well, we don't want others to be liked, and we're actually often happy when something bad is happening to somebody else. And this is not a good sign. This is not um, a healthy spiritual condition. So, and we can often see this habit to find fault in others when it's actually connected with our desire to impress others, yet to gain the favor of others. And as we said before, ultimately, this is all rooted and caused by wanting to be happy. Yeah. So it's not that everybody who's basically finding faults in somebody else is a bad person. And sometimes, you know, so sometimes we actually, I mean, it's hard not to notice the faults, but the question is, how do we handle this here? Does it bother us, or are we concerned, maybe trying, how can I help this person? Yeah. So am I just being tolerant? But sometimes if somebody else is being abused by a third person and that we care about that person, or even if it's a stranger sometimes, I just saw a video how some, in a London subway, some guy was about to attack a girl, and several men immediately stood up and protected the woman, and it was very good. That's how it should be. So basically there are times when it's justified and beneficial for the other person, when we're actually letting them know in an appropriate way that this is not acceptable behavior. But that doesn't mean that we should now all feel super proud and, oh, I'm so perfect and great, and look at everybody else who has been so imperfect. Yeah. So we should not use it as a way to try to feel better about ourselves, to try to improve our standing. So, but generally speaking, we think we will be happier if others see us in a favorable way and like us. But the truth is that as long as we focus on the faults of others, we will not become very happy. And this is because it's not our natural condition. Our natural condition actually to be the judge of others. And in this connection, there's a nice little story I wanted to share today, and it's a story of a king who had two sons. And as the king was getting a little bit older, he wanted to see which of his two sons was actually most qualified to become the next king. And so he told his eldest son, I believe it was, that please go around the whole kingdom and look for a person who doesn't have any faults. And so his eldest son left. And he traveled around the kingdom, and it took him some time. And eventually he came back and reported to the king. And the king said, so, did you find somebody who doesn't have any faults? He said, oh, dear father, dear king, no, I couldn't find anybody who doesn't have any faults. Everybody who I met had some faults. Then he asked his other son, his younger son, "Oh, dear son, now please go through the kingdom and try to find a person who doesn't have any good qualities." And so his younger son now left, and he went through the kingdom and traveled and looked around. He met many people, and eventually he came back to his father, the king. And the king, then the father, he asked him, "Oh, son, so please tell me, did you find anybody who doesn't have any good qualities?" And his younger son said, "No, actually, everybody who I met, they had some good quality." And then the king knew which of his sons was going to be more qualified to become the next king. And so this is a very instructive story, that we can actually learn from, that it's very desirable when we actually begin to see the good in others, and we praise and focus on the good things, because it helps a person, to actually become more like that, and that we don't go out of our way to find faults in others. Maybe somebody else has five good qualities and three not so good qualities, or they did five good things a day and three not so good things. But what do we do usually? Our tendency is we unfortunately bring up the stuff more that we don't like. Yeah. And we can see, maybe in our personal lives what we are like. Let's say when we're traveling and we're writing some reviews. Maybe we stayed at a few different places, and maybe one of them was really great, a couple of them were okay or good, and maybe one of them was not good. What motivates us the most to write a review? Is it the worst thing and we really want to vent, and, you know, or is it the one that was really great and we want to share it with others and praise them and thank them, or whatever it might be? Yeah. So we can see on which end of the spectrum we tend to be more, and then we can try to move towards the good spectrum more and more, because we will be happier as a result of that. So somebody might ask, if fault finding is so destructive, then what can we do to be cured from this? And so this is actually a big and serious topic. Yeah, it's been a long habit that we've had for a very long time. And we actually need to embark on a spiritual journey. We need to actually appreciate who we really are. We are eternal spiritual beings. This world is not our real home. We're just temporarily here in this human body that we have right now, but we will continue to exist when this body comes to an end. And so we need to develop some humility through spiritual practices, that I actually begin to appreciate I'm not so great and I'm not so perfect, but actually, because I'm the eternal child of the Supreme, I'm actually all lovable the way I am. I have real value. I have real eternal spiritual value. I don't need to struggle to become, someone else or some great personality in this world. All I have to try to do is live in harmony with my eternal spiritual function, that I actually live according to spiritual virtues such as humility, compassion, tolerance, forgiveness, basically become a more caring and selfless person, rather than having my heart hardened more and more, become more self-centered and not care about anybody else. Yeah. So when we develop a little bit of humility, this is actually really, really important. It goes a long ways, because then we can actually begin to see, our own faults and imperfections, but we appreciate that we are actually loved unconditionally the way we are. It's just like, wow, the Supreme loves us the way we are. And this is a very wonderful experience. We don't have to struggle anymore. We don't have to worry and fear anymore. But That humility actually then will cause us to be less inclined to find faults in others, because then who am I? Am I the guy on the podium, the greatest person ever, and it's natural for me, my position, to go around and judge everybody? Oh, you're no, no, not good, rejected, bad. No, that's not our natural position. It's not our natural function. Yeah. So rather than spending all of our time and energy on focusing on the imperfections on others and trying to change them, or you know criticizing them or whatever, wishing that they would be different and then things would be perfect. No, we need to redirect our energy and focus and trying to become a better person ourselves. Yes, so that actually we can just focus on becoming who we really are. You know, we're not meant to have our hearts covered, with all these things like anger and envy and fault finding, lust, greed, hatred. These things are not there in a person who is experiencing pure spiritual love, but rather we have been covered, by this material energy, by this darkness, this really self-centeredness, and falsely identifying myself as a temporary, as matter. It's not. I'm not bones and flesh. I'm actually of a different energy. Yeah. So we can become forces for good actually when we know who we are and what the goal of this human journey is, and then we can try to help others rather than having this tendency to find fault and criticize others. We can appreciate actually others are struggling in this human journey. Most of them are struggling. They're having a hard time. They might be feeling lonely, depressed. There's a reason why people are usually angry or finding fault in others. They're not happy. It's not an expression of happiness, fulfillment, and so forth here. So rather we should feel compassion and consider, okay, now I know why they're acting the way they are, and maybe there's something I can do to try to lift them up. So we should try in our speech and our actions to try to be encouraging, uplifting, inspiring, to try to share enlightening wisdom and truth as much as possible. That will actually be of the greatest benefit. Now, somebody might be asking now, just like, okay, but does that mean that we won't notice faults and imperfections in others anymore? Well, of course, we will still notice faults and imperfections in others, yeah, but they won't matter very much to us anymore. We will not try to feel superior to others. That game is over. Nor will I feel that I'm the judge or have the right to condemn others. Yeah. And so we can actually continue to care for others, even if they do bad things. Yeah, the choice is others, what we focus on. Like we said before, yeah, we could focus on the good qualities in somebody else or the not so good qualities, but we should always encourage and support whatever little good we see. So part of our caring is to point out the wrongdoings to somebody at the right time in a palatable way, if possible. Sometimes it might not be our position, right? If we just see a stranger walking down the street, maybe a 13-year-old teenager, and they're drinking beer or something, yeah, not very good for that person, but I don't have a relationship with them, so it's not really appropriate for me to go out of my way to try to tell them, oh, what you're doing is not good. Don't you know about you know, it's not good to have substance abuse or so, right? But if it's, of course, if it's your own child or maybe your niece or nephew, yeah, then you can say something, try to do it in a caring educational spirit. Yeah, everything that we do should actually be motivated by love and care. So another question that was raised here is, what will happen if we begin to see the good in others and overlook the imperfections? Good question. And The news is very good. Our relationships will be much better. Wow, isn't that great? There's so many problems with relationships, yeah, especially nowadays. Everything has become so challenging, yeah. But we will actually become happier when we notice and encourage and praise the good in others, and not always point out all these little things that we don't like. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes we have to point out things, but most of the stuff, things are just so passing and insignificant in the big picture. You just let it go. So, and if we are nicer to be around, others will want to be around us very more. They're not going to be afraid that we're going to go on another fault finding round. Yeah, sometimes people, they're really they're really uncomfortable when somebody else comes around, because we know they're going to go and say some things again that are going to be not very nice for certain people. Yeah. So of course, if we have this tendency, we might have had this tendency. I might have had this tendency. I might still have this tendency. Then it's not so easy to change. Yeah. So as it said, yeah, internal change, real lasting change is not very easy. And this is why we often focus on trying to change others. Yeah, it's basically an admission of my weakness, that I cannot or don't want to work on changing myself, but rather I want to change other people. Yeah, and that usually doesn't work, because that inspiration for change needs to come from within. So it actually really takes place. Yeah, like there is a saying. Yeah, a person convinced against his opinion is of the same opinion still, something like that. Yeah, so basically, if we're trying to force somebody else to change their behavior or their viewpoints or something, but they don't really want to do it, you know it's not going to work. It's not going to work very well. So, but we actually do need some help if we really want to have a real transformation of our heart, of our consciousness. I don't know about you, but I'm not totally satisfied with what I'm experiencing right now in my heart. There is not pure love and care and selflessness in my heart. There's still, some junk there. So how can we clean this? Just like we cleanse this body very carefully every day, most of us, yeah, showers and stuff and water soap. So we can actually similarly cleanse our hearts and our minds. And how do we do this? We do this through this process of mantra meditation, where we just come into the proximity of the spiritual sound. And these mantras are actually invested with all transcendental potencies. So this is why it's not ordinary spiritual sound. This is why you can hear it over and over again. It doesn't become tired, repetitive, boring. No, actually, there's a nice sweetness, a nice flavor there, that we want to actually hear it more and more and more. And the more we engage in this process of mantra meditation, we actually see that, wow, I'm experiencing some nice positive changes. Things are actually really getting better. It's like this is, example given with a diamond, yeah. Maybe you have seen it in a video before. Sometimes I find these diamonds deep in the earth, covered with so much dirt and so many things. You can't even see the diamond. They're trying to get it out and say, oh, there must be a diamond here. I had a detector and there's something there. It's like, no, there's no diamond there. And then they start to chisel and clean, and oh, there's a little spark. What is that? Maybe there is a diamond there, yeah. And so that's like how it is. Yeah, that's what we are like. We are actually pure, loving, eternal, spiritual beings. But in this material dimension, we get covered by so many things. This desire for quarreling, fighting, judging, fault finding, so many things that actually are not in our real best interest. They don't give us that happiness that we're looking for. Yeah. So now when we're looking at this diamond that we're just getting out of the ground. So, are we going to praise the qualities of the diamond, or are we going to get caught up with all the impurities that are covering the diamonds? Like, oh, that's so dirty, throw it away. No, there is real value there. But we just have to cling beings. Everybody is like this, precious diamond. So, but we might be covered with all kinds of stuff. Yes, some people are really engaging in pretty strange activities, and we're not saying that all activity is good or all activity is the same. No, not of course not. You know, we we uh, we don't have to agree with everything that everyone is doing, um, but we should know what is of real benefit to others. And we should try to encourage people to follow this process of mantra meditation, because we know the end result is really, really good. A person is coming back to their pure condition. They will experience who they really are. They will basically, it's like the more you cleanse a diamond, the more you see actually the qualities of the diamond, and it's like, wow, so nice, so beautiful. And that's like how it is, when a person is practicing mantra meditation, mindfulness, they begin to actually awaken to their spiritual nature. And this is really, really wonderful. So that is just one of the benefits. There's others of the process of mantra meditation, but it will cure us of this bad habit, of wanting to find fault in others, being envious of others, of what they have. So because what happens is, through this process of regularly hearing and singing these transcendental mantras, we experience gradually a growing inner happiness. So, so we are no longer empty and just looking around, and when somebody else seems to be happy, then we're not happy for them, but rather we're envious. Yeah, we're just like, oh no, no, hmm, how can I not have this? Yeah. So it's a big topic, and we've answered some questions. Thank you very much for your contributions. And it's getting a little dark here now. So we will have some more Goranga music meditation. So you can either just sing along or just relax and listen. And thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. We wish you all the best. Have a nice rest of your day wherever you are. Please try to add this Guranga meditation, this Guranga deep breathing to your existence. It will give you so many benefits. So look forward to seeing everybody again next Tuesday, same place, same time. Namaste.